You know what time it is. It's time for another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast, the world's premier sports betting podcast. Your source for the best information and insight when it comes to sports wagering. We cover it all because you bet on it all. So let's head up to the studio and get this show rolling.
Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of the 7 and a Hook Podcast. I am Brooksie, the Irish Insider. Hey, hope everybody's having a great day, man. We got a lot to talk about today. We got the Sweet 16 is on tap. That's right. We still are knee deep in the NCAA men's basketball tournament, March Madness 2022. Tournament has not disappointed. Been some upsets, been some not so upsets. It's just been a great tournament overall. We've had overtimes, we've had double overtime. So, and as advertised, 7 and a Hook is breaking down every single game. That's right, every side, every total. We're throwing in some prop bets too. We're not just going to kind of cherry pick the tournament like some of the other talk show sports gambling shows do. No. We're covering every single show. We're showing you what kind of work we put in here at the 7 and a Hook Podcast. All right, so tonight, I'm going to be joined in a little bit by Jimmy D for Double Down. When Jimmy gives you a play, you better go play it. He's going to be joining us on the 7 and a Hook hotline very shortly. Before I get there, though, got to do a quick, hey, thank you again to the folks at The Boat in Drake, Massachusetts. That's right, 294 Tingsboro Road in Drake, Massachusetts. They let the 7 and a Hook Podcast, again, take the show on the road this past weekend. Myself, Doug E. Betts, and Cara, the Queen of Diamonds, took our traveling circus back to The Boat. We had broadcast there earlier this year on Super Bowl Sunday. We did a bunch of sports wagering talk, obviously broke down the March Madness. We talked a little NHL, a little Major League Baseball. We had some trivia. We gave away some swag. Overall, great day, man. The Boat, certainly the place to be. Signature cocktails, delicious food, live entertainment, music. It's got it all. So again, check out The Boat, 294 Tingsboro Road in Drake, Massachusetts. We're going to be back there again soon. There'll be more information to follow shortly. So, all right, as far as tonight's agenda, I'm going to bring Jimmy D on very soon here. And him and I, we're going to talk a little bit of football first. And what I mean by that is some of the moves that we've seen, and primarily we're going to talk about the quarterback moves. And then obviously there's been some other newsworthy moves in the last 24, 48 hours. And then we're going to head right to March Madness. That's right. We're going to break down the first half of the Sweet 16 games that are going to be taking place. So Jimmy's going to do a couple games. I'm going to do a couple games. And then we'll do a little free form, and then we'll head to the exit. So, all right, let me dial up Jimmy D here on the 7 and a Hook hotline. Here we go. All right, looks like we've got connection. Hey, Jimmy D, it's Brooksie. What's going on, kid?
Hey, how are you doing, kid? How's it going?
You know what, man? I'm, as I've said a couple shows, and I'm gonna keep saying, Christmas in March with March Madness, man. This is handicapper's dream time. Don't you agree?
Oh, I do. I mean, I'm a little distracted. I'm watching the Celtics against Utah. I got a few bucks on the Celtics, and they're playing some great basketball. And so I apologize. I'm a little distracted here, but
it's okay.
Yeah, it's a great time of the year for all us bettors out here, isn't it?
It is. I mean, like I said, we've got obviously we're knee deep in March Madness. Major League Baseball's right around the corner. Thank God they got that collective bargaining agreement, settled up. Where the NBA season's coming to an end here. We're going to get coming to an end. I'm sorry, regular season, playoffs coming. NHL, we're 20 games left in the season. Then Stanley Cup playoffs. This is a really great time to be a handicapper. There's no doubt.
Oh, it is. It's kind of like a Christmas time of Christmas for us, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's great. It's great. So, all right. So during the intro, I was telling everybody we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL. Even though it's the off season, you and I both know, and all our listeners know, there's really no off season anymore in the NFL. There's always something to talk about, and you know what? There was some news today that we're going to share shortly. But you and I were talking, pre-show, doing a little prep work. There's been some quarterback moves, and it really has changed the landscape of the 2022-2023 season, and we're only in March. We don't even get to the draft yet, Jimmy D.
Yeah, I can't remember in the longest time. I can't remember how so many quarterbacks being moved, and kind of top-notch quarterbacks too. Maybe top 10, top 15 quarterbacks. You had Wilson leaving Seattle, going to Denver. Matty Ice leaving Atlanta, going up to the Colts. You had Carson, their quarterback, going to the Washington football team, or the Commanders, or whatever the heck they call themselves now.
Yeah.
And then I just heard in the news earlier that Jimmy G out there in San Francisco, the GM out there, John Lynch, he's wanting to, if you want Jimmy G on your team, you're going to have to give up a couple of second-round picks, which is kind of funny because he got a healthier and younger Jimmy G from the Patriots for one second-round pick. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's been. I mean, the NFL, they're keeping themselves, in the headlines as well, right?
Yeah, and we're still a few weeks away from the draft, and that's a whole different topic there, and that's going to give us a bunch of stuff to talk about in the upcoming weeks. But you also got obviously Deshaun Watson, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I've got that. Getting guaranteed money.
Wow.
From Cleveland, and I, he's there's been alleged. We got to say that alleged charges against him, and I think they're off the table. But he's going to probably have civil cases against him, I imagine. I'm not a lawyer, but I found that real interesting. That's all guaranteed, so that was kind of interesting to me. And Baker Mayfield, where's he going, right?
Right, and now think about this: the NFL hasn't come out and said anything about Deshaun Watson, whether there's going to be a suspension, not a suspension, right? I mean, is the NFL just going to just wipe their hands of this and say, okay, go and play? Or are they going to say, you know what, Deshaun or Cleveland, you're getting an 8-game suspension. You're getting I have no idea yet, right? But let's just say they come back and say, well, you're suspended for a year. Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it. Well, that means Baker Mayfield is a starting quarterback still, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think he wants out of town. I heard maybe Seattle. I'm not sure where he's going to go or who wants him, but I'm sure he'll find a job somewhere.
If I'm Baker Mayfield, right? And okay, so Deshaun, let's say he gets a 1-year suspension again. We don't know anything. We have no insight on this. So okay, the coach comes on. The GM says, you know what? You're the starting quarterback this year. You think Baker Mayfield is going to be like, oh yeah, okay, no problem, coach? Or do you think he's going to say, you know what? My shoulder's hurting me. I really think my shoulder's hurting me, and I think it would heal up if I was at a different team, right?
Yeah, you're right. I don't know what his contract situation is, but yeah, I think he does seem like the kind of guy that he needs to be the number one guy.
Yeah.
So that could be an issue, definitely.
Yeah,
I don't know how does. With the salary cap, how does Cleveland afford both those guys? Put that much money.
That I don't know. I mean, there's probably some funky economics going on down there. But listen, I think he ends up on a different team by game one this season. I can't see him staying on the Browns. I really don't. Because like you said, you just said it. He wants to be the guy. He's not going to be the guy until Deshaun's not suspended. That's not going to fly with him. It isn't.
No, I agree with that too.
All right, so all right, a lesser move or a different move. You had Drew Lock obviously leaving Denver, going to Seattle, and then obviously Aaron Rodgers re-signing with Green Bay, and then Mr. GOAT himself, Tom Brady. I know we talked about him on a different show, but coming back from his 6-week retirement, that's a lot of quarterback moves, right? For the season just ended about a month ago. Okay.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. Like I said earlier, I can't remember so much movement with the quarterback position in the past. I mean, this is kind of a big deal. And it's kind of surprising to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think once the Deshaun Watson, that kind of opened up everything else. Everybody wanted to kind of
Yeah, you're right.
Now,
Listen to this. I mean, I liked Cleveland last year. They were one of my kind of dark horses to make it to the Super Bowl. That didn't happen. Okay, that whole team imploded. Okay, this okay, with Deshaun Watson coming in, they went from 2,200, plus 2,200 to win the Super Bowl. They're now plus 1,400 to win the Super Bowl. I mean, Jimmy D, listen, I'm sorry, I think that's a reach. I really do. I don't understand that, because even if Deshaun Watson is the starter day one,
yep.
How's that team going to the Super Bowl? I don't think it's happening. I really don't. Who's he throwing to?
Yeah, that is. You're right. That is going to be. That is right, and there's so much up in the air with Watson. We don't, like you said, you made the point earlier. We don't know what's going to happen with him.
No.
The league, are they going to suspend him? I mean, that might be some back channels things that maybe Cleveland knows that they're not going to suspend him, or maybe they're only going to suspend him for a game or two. But but the other thing too, Brooksie, is the league and culture in general. Anything with a woman, and I agree with this. They come down hard. This isn't 1982 where
right.
We put it under the rug. Any kind of assault or anything like that with a woman is it should be. It should be punished correctly. And the NFL they have to come up with that.
I think they got to do something. I just don't think it's okay. Yep, you're on a different team. We forget about everything. I think there's going to be some sort of suspension. We'll see. Now, all right. My question to you is, out of these moves. And I'm going to give you mine first, which I think to me was the best fit. And I don't mean they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm just saying from a one team to another, one system to another. And Matty Ryan, okay? Now hear me out. Now he's going from Atlanta, right?
Yep.
AFC South team, right? Or NFC South, I'm sorry. No, wait a minute. Yeah, South, right? So dome team. Pretty decent offense down there. Now he's moving to another dome team in Indianapolis with a pretty good offense, pretty good running back. Now, I think he's going to fit in there okay. I don't think he's going to be asked to do a lot other than what he's good at, and that's kind of throw the ball, not deep anymore, and hand the ball off. So I think that's a pretty good move for Matt Ryan and Indianapolis. Now, do I think that makes him a Super Bowl contender? No. But I to get rid of Wentz and bring him in, I actually think that was a pretty good move.
Yeah, I do. But I mean, how old is Matty Ryan now? I mean, he's
Yeah, agreed. Yep.
I mean, does he have 2 solid, really good years left? Or I mean, we can't compare everything to Brady, right? We can't say right. That's kind of a once in a lifetime, 44, 45 years old. But I do. You're right. You make a great point, and he is better than. Carson Wentz, Carson Wentz, if I may say, he's one of the most frustrated. Watch him; he makes you really frustrated. If you're a fan of him. I just don't get him. He should be better than what he is, in my opinion. It just seems like he's either getting hit too many times, or he's not holding on to the ball, or he's holding it on too much, or he fumbles it. But yeah, I agree with you, Brooks. I think Ryan, it's an improvement, right? That's the number one. I believe. I think everyone believes that you got to have a great quarterback, or at least a really good one to win this. Get in the Super Bowl.
And right now Vegas has Indianapolis as plus 2,000 to win the Super Bowl. So they think Matty's worth something, because if you look at the Washington Commanders, who, Wentz is going to be their starting quarterback, they're plus 6,000, Jimmy D.
Wow.
Okay? Now, I mean, Indianapolis is a better football team than Washington, but they're really, Wentz didn't bring much to the table according to the book. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So, I don't know. I think the book kind of agrees with you, is you never know what you're going to get with Wentz. Okay?
He had half of a great year in Philadelphia where he was the leading contender for the MVP, and then he got hurt, and then I think that was the year that was it Peterson or no Folk won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Took over and they beat the Patriots.
Yeah. That was a sad day. Sad day in New England. Very sad day.
What's that?
That was a sad day in New England, by the way.
Oh yeah, that was everyone else was doing their penance in church. You know what I mean? But that's just the kind of luck he's had. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just you get frustrated. But
all right. So that's again that's kind of what we see right now in the QB market. I think the thing we mentioned about Jimmy G, that's probably the next part of this puzzle that's going to fall. Now where he's going to go, we don't know. You got any predictions maybe where he's going to end up?
It was early news, and I talked to some boys, and they thought he was going to go to Seattle.
Yeah.
I just heard about an hour ago from somebody that that's not going to happen. That doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So, I don't know where he could end up. I mean, almost everybody needs a quarterback. I mean, could it be Houston? There's with the general manager there.
Yep.
He knows him from his Patriot days. Maybe Houston.
I think that's possible. Listen, I you know what? And again, this is a long shot, and there would be some pieces of the puzzle that have to change. But I actually think he would be a pretty good fit in Miami. Now they got to move on from Tua, and I'm sure they'd get some takers, but I'd actually like to see him down in Miami. And you know who else? Who else might like to see him down there? And I know you wanted to talk about the move that happened today.
Yeah, I mean that's the news that's today. That's the news of the day. The Cheetah, Patrick Mahomes, number one receiver, left Kansas City. I think he signed for $124 million. Got traded, but then he signed a big contract. Miami. Tyreek Hill. That is really interesting to me. I mean, I don't know how you think Mahomes feels today, losing his number one guy.
Not good.
You know what I mean? I know it's the salary cap league. It just seems like a really weird thing that they couldn't keep him. I mean, Mahomes needs him. You know what I mean? Kelsey's going to be 33 this year. I found that really strange. And they gave up, I believe, was one first-round pick, which is 29.
Yep.
A second-round pick, like a fourth and a fifth, and I think a fourth and a sixth next year. So, I mean, they gave up a lot, but, I mean, that first-round pick at 29, that doesn't, that's a hit or miss always, right?
Yeah, and Jimmy D, that guy's a game changer. Like, I mean, come on. You find a way to keep him, right? Come on. That's really poor, I think, for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think their general manager made a big mistake. I really do.
But you're pissing off your star quarterback too. Brooksie. The whole thing is odd to me. Now, I don't know what his contract situation. I know he just signed that. Like you said, $124 million. Now maybe there was issues behind the scenes, and I know Tyreek Hill's had some issues in the past, but he's been pretty clean and for the last few years. But that whole thing's so odd to me.
He is, now again, different type receivers, but I mean, this is somewhat similar to what just happened to Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams, right? I mean,
yeah, I know that's an odd one too, isn't it?
Again, now the only thing I can see with that is, now you and I have both been to Wisconsin. We've both been to different, and we've been to Vegas. Okay, now there is a big difference between living in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Las Vegas. All right, and
exactly.
Davante Adams is young guy, single. He spent a few years in Green Bay, and I think he just said, "Listen, I just want a different lifestyle." I mean, that's the only thing I can think, Jimmy D.
I agree with you in that, but every guy that I've ever known, every player from Reggie White to, I mean, they all like playing there in Titletown. You know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you that, but it's a different generation, right?
Yeah.
And so, and guys they need to market themselves, so a lot of want to go to L.A. or close to Vegas, because it's more than just the salary; it's the marketing themselves.
That's right.
And so. That is interesting. They're kind of getting wordy with each other too. I thought they were like best buddies, and now they're kind of throwing darts at each other. So
I mean, it's sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles, as they say. But Yeah, I really, like you said, when we were talking pre-show about, him going down to Miami, that really changes the AFC East. I really think he's that kind of player,
Yep, I do too. I think that they're up there. I think you got Buffalo, then you got the Patriots and Miami. Right, probably. You get Team 1, Buffalo, then you get probably 2A, 2B, or however you want to. But yeah, the East is. I mean, for 20 years it was dominated by the Patriots, but now now it's a real competitive league again.
It's definitely changed, and him coming from Kansas City to Miami, I think changes a lot down there. Now, granted, they have a new head coach, new system, blah blah blah. I don't care what system you put that guy in, he's going to do well. Just give him the ball, give him the rock, let him do what he does. He's
going to probably run a lot faster in that warmer weather too.
I agree with you. Yeah. All right, we're gonna let's shift gears here a little bit, and let's head right to March Madness. Okay.
Yep.
We got the first half of the Sweet 16 on tap that we're gonna cover here. So I'll give you the floor, man. Why don't you take your first spotlight game we got?
I do, but I just, if I may, this is an extremely exciting time of the year, and I think it'd be amiss if we didn't talk a little bit about the Beast of the East,
oh, yeah.
the powerhouse from the Metro Atlantic Conference, the St. Peter Peacocks.
Yes.
That story. I mean, what a great story, right? I mean, beating Kentucky, and then they come back and they beat was it Murray State or whoever it was, but and now I think they go up to Purdue. That's why this is so great. You know what I mean? This is like. That's why people even today talk about the 1980 Olympics, USA versus Russia. The underdog, the kids. People love those stories.
Yeah, listen. They when they knocked off Kentucky in the first round, I mean, it literally sent shockwaves throughout the country and throughout the world, because that many people tune in to March Madness. A lot of casual sports fans fill out brackets, Jimmy D, right? I mean, how many people do you think had St. Peter's? Not many, right?
Yeah, people wouldn't even know where it was. I had to look it up. I now know it's in New Jersey. Thank you. And then it was funny. I was talking to a kid the other day, and he was trying to find himself a St. Peter Peacocks hat.
Good luck.
And there's nowhere to find him.
Nope.
So with the merchandise, I'm sure they weren't expecting it, but I hope the school or whoever could make a few bucks off this. You know what I mean?
Listen, I guarantee you they've already ordered a bunch of hats and a bunch of T-shirts, and I guarantee you they're sold out. And you know what? Good for them, because it's only a school of about 3,000 students.
Right.
So. And who are they to beat Kentucky? That was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the conference is in the Big Ten, is in the Big East, is in the SEC. It's like I said, the Metro Atlantic Conference. And what do you got? Like Quinnipiac's in it. I think Fairfield. Schools that you would never go, never know. Liberal schools, but it's a good story. I hope they could. It would be amazing if they could somehow get to the Final Four. I think we have a tough time with Purdue to get to the 8, but it's a great story so far. They're probably. One of the top stories. I think the top story.
Oh, no, I agree. I think they are the top story, biggest surprise, like you said, whatever it is. Yeah. And you know what, Jimmy D, they backed up that win over Kentucky, and they beat a very, very good Murray State team. They had 31 wins on the season. Those are two solid, real wins, no flukes.
Yeah, and it was a Calipari coach team too, and that doesn't happen like that usually, right?
No, I mean that's why I'm saying I'm all for the Peacock. You know what I mean? Get me a shirt, get me a hat, I'll wear it on the show. Good for them. But you're right. That they are definitely the surprise of the tournament. I guess if I was to pick surprise 2 or the B pick, I got to go with the Miami Hurricanes, Jimmy D.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They finished, I think, 5th in the ACC.
They're building up by BC in the tournament, right?
Had to go to overtime to get through the ACC tournament. Some people didn't think they belonged in the tournament. I mean, again, that's not for us to argue at this point, but I didn't see them getting this far, and they're a fun team to watch. So, you know what? Keep your eye on them. I don't think they're going to be a pushover in the Sweet 16. I really don't.
No, it's good. Yeah, the U's usually known for football, or in the past has been. Yeah, it is kind of a good story there down there that they're get some eyes watching them now. For the basketball.
Yeah, no doubt. But I mean, so far, Jimmy D, if I was going to grade the tournament, A being the best, F being the worst, I think right now I'm at an A-. I think the tournament's been that good.
Yeah, I think so too. It's been it's been competitive, and I still don't. I'm not sure. I got kind of a little bit of a favorite now, but it's still nobody's really got a favorite. Baylor's gone. There's these different schools that we thought, but it's been a tough. The funny thing is, I was reading after the Peacocks, St. Peter Peacocks beat Kentucky. All these people wiped out of their brackets.
Yeah,
I think it was they were automatically out right then. So that was kind of funny too.
It was. Listen, Jimmy, Dougie Betts and I, when we were in Cara, the Queen of Diamonds, when we were broadcasting from the boat this past weekend, we talked about the brackets and the odds to fill out a 100% correct bracket is 1 in 9 quintillion. Okay, it's a 9 with 18 zeros after.
That's crazy, yeah.
Okay, and no one's ever done it. Okay, Warren Buffett, the famous investor, he offers, and he does his own little contest. I don't know how he does it, how it's legal, but he offers $1 billion to anybody that can do it. Now, no one's ever done it. And you know what? Good for him, because he gets all that free publicity because he knows he's not going to pay it out. Okay.
Right.
So
I mean, like I said, when you have teams like you got to get really lucky on the real long shots, like St. Peter, the Peacocks, and then you got to it's a real it's a real tough thing. Like I said, it's never been done, so it's just people say they've done it, you know what I mean? But like people have said they've sing a Bigfoot, but I just haven't,
No. And believe me, there's all these computer programmers and whatever. They've tried to create, algorithms and this, that. No one's ever done it. Okay? No. And it's because of teams like St. Peter's. You just never know. You never know. But, yeah. Okay, so great. All right, so definitely St. Peter's and Miami, we think are kind of the two surprises so far.
Yeah, two the good stories so far.
All right, so who do you got in your first spotlight play tonight?
Okay, well, this is kind of a good story, but kind of a little bit lesser. But I'm looking at the Big Ten, Michigan Wolverines. They're the 11th seed, and they're going up against the Big East, the Villanova Wildcats. They're coming in at the 2nd seed. Michigan, you just said you talked about Miami. People are saying, should they even get invited to the tournament or not?
Yeah.
You had Coach Howard being suspended. But they've given the tournament their last game against Tennessee, which was a 3 seed. They beat them up pretty good, 76-68. They got some pretty good players. They got their center there, who was kind of a stud, Hunter Dickinson. Yeah. He had 27 points, 11 rebounds against Tennessee, and they got the kid Eli Brooks, who had 23 points against Tennessee, and they got Devontae Jones. He had a nice game, 11 points. Just guys to watch. The other kid, the guy I like from Michigan too, is the freshman from France there, Moussa Debate. He's averaged about 9 points a game. He's a big kid, 6'11". I think that the Michigan is kind of rallied around their coach. I don't think anybody that saw what Coach Howard did, he made a mistake, but he got suspended, and he's back obviously. And I think that the team is kind of rallying, behind him. Like I said, they're going up against. Villanova, led by Coach Jay Wright, 2-time champ NCAA.
Yeah.
He won it in 2016, 2018, I believe, Villanova. I think Villanova, in my opinion, is kind of a leader right now. They seem to be playing at the right time. They're coming off a big win against Ohio State, 71-61. If you watch the game, that really wasn't contested all game. They kind of blew them out in the first half. They got kind of a senior team. They got that Colin Gillespie. I think averaging 16 points a game. He had 20 points against Ohio State. They get the other senior, Jermaine Samuels. He had a big game against Ohio State, 17 points. And the bench is all of them, led by Khalid Daniels, He had 11 points against Ohio State. You look at the scoring for Villanova, very balanced throughout. So I think that's going to give Michigan some problems. That being said, I think the night's going to fall on Michigan. I think Villanova is going to win this game. I'm doing the minus 230, and they're also minus 5. I think Villanova is going to win this game big. And I am going with the over 135. So that's my pick for this game.
Yeah, all right. So you got a minus 5. You got minus the 135. Did you say over in that?
Yeah, I'm taking the over in that. And then it's a minus 230, but I just think, like I said, I think Michigan, they've had their run.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. All right. I'm going to break down the Arkansas Razorbacks, number 4 seed, taking on Gonzaga, number 1 seed, the Bulldogs, and that's out in the western region. The Bulldogs are favored by 9.5. Points total set at 155. Now, the Razorbacks, how'd they get here? Well, they knocked off a very, very scrappy University of Vermont team, 75-71. That game was close all the way to the end. That game was in question, Jimmy D. And we had talked about the Catamounts. They come to play. They're no pushover,
Yep.
And then they knocked them off 75-71. In the second round game, the Razorbacks took on the Aggies. That's the New Mexico State Aggies, and beat them 53-48. Defensive battle. Only 101 points scored in that game. There was only one other game so far in the tournament that had less points than that, and that was Ohio State against Loyola Chicago. That was 54-41. Only 95 points scored in that game. Under 100 in a college basketball game. Wow. In a tournament, that's unheard of. But
yeah, it is.
Ohio State defense suffocated Loyola. But all right, so the Razorbacks, they're averaging 76 points a game. Defense, 59 points a game. This is a defense-first type of team. Now the Bulldogs, how'd they get here? Gonzaga, they knocked off Georgia State in the first round, 93-72. Game was close at halftime. They were only up by 2, but then Gonzaga pulled away in the second half. And then, man, oh man, really, really tight game. Knocked off Memphis 82-78. That game, back and forth. I believe went to overtime, and Gonzaga got it done. But Memphis put a scare in them. Now, I don't think the Bulldogs have played a complete game yet, Jimmy D. Okay. Now they've won, but they haven't put it together yet. Okay. Now, I think they're going to get it done in this game. I'm going to lay the 9.5. I know Arkansas is a tough defense, but I think Gonzaga, they had their hiccups and they got it out of the way. I think you're going to see them put a game together against the Razorbacks and get this train on a track. So give me the Bulldogs laying the 9.5. And as far as the 155, that's too many points in this game. I'm looking under. I'm going to go under 155.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's a run and gun, but yeah, I kind of agree with you on the under on that.
And what do you got in your second spotlight game?
Yeah, the other game I got my eye on is the ACC Duke Blue Devils. They're the second seed going up against the Texas Tech Red Raiders, the Big 12. Of course, we all know this is Coach K's last year with Duke. He's going up against a pretty good coach in Mark Adams. Duke's coming in off, they beat Cal Fullerton. Wasn't much of a game, kind of an overmatch, 78-61.
Yeah.
Then again, Texas Tech beat, I think, Montana State, another, kind of overmatch, 97-62. So neither team coming off, I would say, top teams that they beat, but still, they're in the Sweet 16. Duke, they're kind of led by their freshman there, Paolo Banchero. He's averaging 17 points a game as a freshman. Kind of a special kid as a freshman. And they also got their sophomore center, Mark Williams. He's got, I think he had 15 points against Fullerton. And they also got their forward, William Moore. He's averaging about 13 points a game. It's a pretty young team. It's kind of odd that Coach K is leaving this team now. But they got a lot of guys coming up. But maybe some of these guys are going to turn pro, but just a little bit odd to me. And then you get Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, and I know a lot of people haven't seen them play. They're a pretty good team. They're led by Bryson Williams, forward. He had a nice game against Montana. He had 20 points. Terrence Shannon, another guy, got 20 points, and then you get Kevin Obona, if I apologize if I'm not saying that right.
Yep.
He's a senior. He gives you 10-5 a game. They're pretty solid. I think this is going to be. I think Texas Tech is going to win this game pretty easy. I think they're going to run away with it. I think this is going to be Coach K's last game. I'm taking Texas, minus the 1. I'm also doing minus 115. The spread of the money line.
Yep.
The line for this is 137. I keep going back and forth. I'm going to have to go, I guess, with the over on this. I'm a little hesitant on it, but that's what I'm taking. So
yeah, I'm same way. That total, I just can't get a read on it, Jimmy D. I know Texas Tech can score some points. Duke can score some points, but that's a tricky number. That's a tricky number.
So I guess I go with the over. The reason I'm doing that, Duke is a fairly young team. They got the talent. I just as you know, with a young team, sometimes they're not the top with defensive.
Yeah.
Defense usually comes late. So that's what I see with this game coming up.
All right, my second spotlight play and last pick on the board for tonight is the Houston Cougars, number 5 seed, taking on number 1 seed in the Arizona Wildcats, and that's in the South region. The game's going to be taking place in San Antonio. Arizona favored by a point and a hook, 1.5 points total set at 145 and a hook. Now the Cougars, how'd they get here? Knocked off UAB Blazers in the first round, 68-53. A lot of pundits, a lot of experts out there had UAB knocking Houston off, and that game was never in doubt. I mean, Houston led that game wire to wire, so really not sure why people were hating on Houston. Because they had a pretty good season. I mean, they had 31 wins on the year, but I think it was one of those, they thought they were overrated, and they kind of silenced a lot of people. Then they went on the second round, and they took care of business against Illinois, a very big team, and Houston, again, manhandled them 68-53 in that matchup. So, again, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, Houston. Okay, you win 31 games, you can pretty much play with anybody. Okay, and they're showing that. So, 75 points a game this year, their average. Jimmy D, it's about their defense. They only let up 60 points a game. Okay, that's sometimes I know offense is exciting, but what's the old saying? Defense will win you championships, right?
Yeah.
So. Wildcats, let's look at Arizona. 33-3 on the year. Unbelievable season for the Wildcats, yeah. They beat up on Wright State in the first round. That was a play-in team, 87-70. Then they got put to the test by TCU, and that game went to overtime, and that was 85-80. They got it done. It was a scare, but they got it done. They're averaging 84 points a game. 75 against. Okay, this was I'm not gonna say a hard game, but it was a tough game for me to cap. And at the end of the day, Jimmy D, I think Houston is a pretty darn good basketball team. They've got some really good guards, and good guard play gives Arizona problems. Okay.
Yep.
And this is technically, and just kind of the way it played out, this is almost a home game for Houston. This game is in San Antonio, okay? There are going to be more Houston fans there than there's going to be Arizona fans, okay?
Yep.
I'm going to take the point and a hook here. I'm going to take Houston in this game. As far as the points total, at 145 and a hook, I'm looking under, okay? I'm going to go under this game. I'm going to take the points with Houston. I know that's maybe contrary to what the experts are saying out there, but I like the Cougars here.
You can get back to your days when they rolled 5 slammer jammer.
Yeah, that's right.
With was it Akeem and I think Clyde Drexler? I think was that the
that was the dynamic duo back then. But it's been a while since they've been kind of in the spotlight. right?
Yeah, lost to NC State, I believe, right? Was that
I mean, those were some exciting times back in the middle 80s, right? So, but yeah, I know I'm kind of going against the grain here. I think all the smart money is on Arizona. I'm gonna take Houston in this game.
I like that. I kind of like the over in that game, but I think I like your bet though. I think I do like. I think Houston is. I think you're on to something. It is kind of like a home game in Texas.
Yeah, it just kind of worked out for them, you know. So
yeah, that is a lot of points. That's a tough one. I probably would go the over, but that is a tough one.
Yeah, like I say, some of these totals are hard to get a feel for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because most of these teams, obviously, they don't have many common opponents, and the tournament's just a different animal. Okay, so, but, okay, so listen, there's your first half of the Sweet 16. These are 4 really, really good games. Okay, you know, whether you're betting on them or not, I think they're going to be worth watching. Okay, now, obviously, you got a little skin in the game. It makes it a little bit more exciting, and I know that's what we do here. But I just think, Jimmy D, if you're a basketball fan, these are 4 really phenomenal games, you know?
Yeah, you know, go out tomorrow night, enjoy yourself a nice cold beverage, and don't have too many of them, and make sure you get to work on Friday. But I think it is, like you said, it's 4 fantastic games I think we just gave, and I think that's going to be. I think they're going to be some. They're going to be good ones.
It should be fun. So, all right, Jimmy D, let's head to the exits. Let's call it a night here. But you know, we'll be checking back with you soon. We'll have another show with Jimmy D and myself upcoming. But hey, again, hopefully everybody tuned in tonight. We gave you some good insight and some good information, so you can go play the picks and cash some ticks. So, on behalf of everybody here at the 7 and a Hook podcast, we hope you have a great day. And more importantly, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.
Thanks again for tuning in to the 7 and a Hook podcast. Until next time, may your bad beats be small and your big wins be monster.